welcome to You and I Podcast. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Jude.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about all things money in the dating realm and the married realm. And we're going to be talking about some trends that we see and our basically our opinions on that. All right. So dating, finances. One thing that I personally see that has been a kind of like a trend, especially on social media, is that people seem like now they're dating to be entertained versus dating to actually get to know the person. That's just what it seems to me. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of times I'll be on social media and there were certain like people I would follow and they're like gifting, their girlfriend with like very, very elaborate gifts, like very, very elaborate gifts. And I just think that it's just kind of seems like a lot of dating financially is about what you can do for the other person, not necessarily getting to know the person.
Right.
What do you think?
I think so, and I think that part of the issue is living together. Like, there's no boundaries. I see the boundaries in dating is kind of different nowadays, and because a lot of couples are now living together or playing house or shacking, as they say, I really feel like that's some of the issue. Is like you're going on these elaborate trips, you're buying vehicles, and you're
buying houses together.
You're doing all these different things that a married couple would do, and I think it's because a lot of couples are putting the cart before the horse, as they say. Like, you're doing a lot of different things that really is for marriage, but you're living together, so it clouds things. It makes it feel comfortable to just, okay, we're living in the same house, so we're buying food together, we're buying all these different things together. So I really think that that's the reason why is the boundaries, the lines have been blurred.
Absolutely, and I think that can be a very slippery slope, and I think it's both sides need to be very cautious when doing things like that, because when you purchase a house, that's a contract, just like marriage is a contract. When you, for example, if you have two people living together and then one of the people pass away, then it can become tricky when trying to figure out assets. Because if you're not married, then the family has rights to the property. So you have to be very careful. Like, if you're going to go that route, it's not the route that I took or we took. But if you're going to go that route, you definitely need to do your research, like he said, before you just jump ahead and just move in together. Let's move in together. We love each other, whatever the case may be. Because it can get very tricky. Like, if it doesn't work out, who has rights to the home? You both sign on the dotted line, so that's something that you have to figure out. And that could be the marriages that get divorced too, but there's certain rights that a spouse has that a girlfriend's not going to have, or a boyfriend is not going to have. So you have to do your research before you do, go into binding contracts with people that you're in relationships with. You want to say anything about it?
Yeah, I completely agree. I just think that it's best to just wait if you can. If you can wait and get married and, do it that way. Now, two things can be true. It could work out. The way that we did it, we waited, we weren't married, but we were together all the time. But it also is just like, what are you looking for in the relationship? Because I feel like men and women nowadays, are you looking to get to know the person and really love the person? Or are you looking for something like what the person can do for me? So we're going to get into like the different topics. So my first question to you is, I'll let you speak for the women's side.
Go ahead.
So from a women's standpoint, what do you think that the biggest issue that you're seeing with women just in general nowadays with dating? And you can speak on the past, like when we were dating, and then this new generation as well, or some of the issues that come up just in regards to finance with women.
I see two trends. The first trend I see is that women are, some women, I don't want to speak for women as a whole, because it's not all women. Some women are looking for what you can buy for them, what you can do for them, and that's the main agenda. So whatever I need to look like, whatever I need to act like to get this man to get me to, to get things basically, is what I'm going to do. And the problem with that is you are opening up a door for disaster, because you're putting yourself in danger, really, because this man knows that he knows, trust me, that the only reason why you're with him is what you can do for him. So at the end of the day, now he has some type of like control or power over you, to where he feels like he can tell you when to come home, when you coming, when you're going, and all of those types of things. So you have to be very careful with that, because I think a lot of men use finances as leverage over women, and we just put ourselves into that situation because we just, we want those. Some women are like really desire those materialistic things. On the other side, I see a lot of, and I know you say women, but it's kind of both parties. I see a lot of women taking care of men. Like, girl, no ma'am. Basically, there are some men, and there's a lot of men, some people would say, that are looking for a sugar mama, looking for somebody that is going to take care of them. And they're jumping. I see a lot of men jumping from this one to that one to this one to that one, all for, they ain't got their own place. They ain't got no car. They ain't got nothing but baggage. And basically, they're just like jumping from female to female and trying to basically get their needs met. So I see it on kind of like both sides. So I'm just, as a woman, and even as a man, because men are out here taking care of these women, but women are out here taking care of these men. It's just not, I don't think it's talked about as much as the other side of it. But I see a lot of dudes be house hopping, and I ain't gonna say what I call them, but they be house hopping. And no, like, especially, I don't get that, especially women, and this is a little sidebar, I ain't gonna go too deep in it, but don't bring no man in your house when you got kids. I feel a way about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta be careful when you just let men come up in because you want some type of, I don't know if it's you want love or you want a partner, a companion, whatever the case may be, but you gotta be careful when it comes to that. So
yeah, and I'll just piggyback on that for both men and women. But I agree with you when you say bring it in. I believe that it's men or women. If you're a single man with kids, anytime kids are involved in general, I feel like you have to be very careful, especially if this new person is not the mother or father of the child.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's a totally like different dynamic.
Very.
And you don't know. Sometimes you don't even know this person well enough, because I see another thing is like a lot of boyfriends and girlfriends are moving in before they really even know that other person that they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't know what this person is capable of. So I feel like the biggest thing is get to know the person first.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be worried about what the person can do for you, but be independent.
Yeah.
When you can take care of yourself,
yeah,
you won't settle. Like the stuff you were talking about, it's about
good.
The man being able to buy these elaborate things, or the woman, or on the opposite side, the man looking for a woman to take care of him. If you can do the stuff for yourself, you're not worried about it. Like when I got with you, my wife would accept gifts from me, but you weren't looking for me to take care of you. No. Like she had her own house, her own car, she had her own bills. We both were living with our parents, but she was paying her own bills, and she had her own stuff. So I feel like, and you felt like if it was something that you wanted, you could do it for yourself. Yeah. You didn't look to me to like, well, buy me this expensive bag, or buy me these expensive shoes,
or get my hair done,
or get my hair done. Right. And I really feel like what you were talking about, it can be a control thing. I feel like that can go be on both sides of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. And that's why you don't want to be the person that's looking for someone to take care of you or do those different things for you. If you can do it for yourself, that's the best way to go, is do it for yourself.
Yeah. And I think I hear a lot of people saying like, what are they bringing to the table? And that's a good point. Like, if I'm going to do for you, what are you going to bring to the table? Maybe you don't have everything, like maybe our finances are not on the same level, right. But like my husband just said, can you at least take care of yourself?
Right.
Because if not, that's a problem. And maybe during the dating journey, you help and you support the other person. Like, okay, you're not in a position right now where you can hold it down yourself, but I'm going to help get you there. And then we're going to get, both of ourselves are going to get ready. Because I feel like we both did a good job about when we were dating, making sure that you were financially ready, but also so was I. Like, we both held our bills down. We were paying stuff on time. We had certain things lined up to where we were able to take care of ourselves. I wasn't looking for him to do anything for me, and he wasn't looking for me to do anything for him.
And I think that's just the foundation. Like what we're talking about is the foundation of finances. you want to make sure you're financially set and stable before you start trying to date somebody or bring finances into it. So once you start dating a person, that's when it can get really cloudy.
Yeah.
But if you have your stuff together, like you have your own place or you have your own car, your own job, like you said, you don't have to be making more money than the other person, but at least you have a job.
Absolutely. At least you have something to bring to the table. Now, I think this is a perfect segue into talking about finances in your marriage. Because again, I see dynamics where one spouse is the breadwinner, one spouse is a stay-at-home. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that dynamic. Do not get me wrong. Don't come for me in the comments. However, it is the breadwinner's responsibility to make sure that the person that's holding the house down knows where the money is going, knows how to pay the bills, and knows how to hold it down in the event that something happens to them. And I know you can speak on that because you're in banking, so you probably see a lot of crazy situations in regards to that. So I'm gonna let you take over.
Most definitely. In my humble opinion, I really feel like it should be both, whoever the breadwinner is, or both the spouse, the husband and wife, to both know how to access an account, know how to pay each bill, because God forbid if that person passes away, I have seen numerous, times where the other person doesn't know how to do anything, like as far as take care of the business of the household. So I feel like it's very important that everything that you do would be joint, especially when it comes to finances and understanding how to pay the bills. You don't have to necessarily be the one to do it, but know how to do it just in case an emergency happens, So I really feel like that's, very important in a marriage. And personally, I really feel like when it comes to marriage, a lot of issues is like joint accounts, separate accounts, and what I feel about that.
Before you get into that, man, you're doing your woman a disservice by keeping her in the dark. Because you are, anything can happen. You can get in a car accident today, tomorrow, whatever. If your girl, your woman, it's not taking care of her. You're not taking care of her if you don't make sure that she has the knowledge that she needs to be able to handle something. You're harming her, you're not hurting. You're harming her, you're not helping her. And I think men need to really tone down sometimes that I'm the man and I got it and I'm gonna hold it down. That's fine, you can do that if that's what you choose to do. But make sure if you're not here, what's she gonna do? Does she know how to pay the bills? Does she know how much money's coming in and out of the account? That is something she needs to know. So I just want to say that piece because
that's on either side, man or woman, whoever it is.
Because the woman can be the breadwinner as well.
I've seen it both ways. I've seen where the man is not paying any bills. He don't know how. He's just going to work and making the money, and the wife is paying all of the bills. Then I've seen it where the man is doing everything. So it just needs to be joint. I feel like both, in my humble opinion, I think it should be both that should know how to handle the business just in case, somebody gets, really ill and they're not able to hold down the household like they were once doing. So
So I know that finances is one of those top reasons why divorce happens in marriages, but I also think it's because I think finances, the lack of, and then I also think the controlling nature that money can kind of create in a marriage. If your spouse, whether it's a male or a female, is using finances as a way to control you, that's abuse. I'm just going to say what I said. It's abuse. If they're using the money as a way to control you, to limit you, to manipulate you, that is mental abuse. Financial manipulation. It's manipulation. You know what I mean? I also think the mismanagement of money is also another big deal. So there's a big debate in marriages whether you should have joint accounts or separate accounts. We personally have joint. However, there are some situations where there are separate accounts. Like my husband said, you should know those passwords. You should know how to log in and check the money. However, some people are not financially responsible. And I think that divorce can happen if you have a spouse out here that has a gambling addiction or that just spends, large amounts of money without regard to responsibilities. So that's something that I think in the dating realm, that needs to be discussed. Like, you need to be watching the habits of your partner. Like, do they spend all of their money? Do they save any money? Do they have a shopping addiction? Do they like to buy a lot of elaborate things? Or is your partner frugal? Because that could be an issue too. Like, if you like go on trips and that's this, that, and the fourth, but your partner is more of like, we need to save, that can create issues. So overspending and being super frugal can be issues in marriages, but you have to know your partner's spending habits, and you have to know, come to some type of middle ground.
Yeah, and I think that it all comes down to, like you said, both watching the spending habits, but also having a budget. Like me and my wife budget, so you have to have a budget for, okay, how much are you planning on spending on this, and how much are you saving? Like, we went over those things before we got married, so when you get married, it's not a surprise. Because I've seen couples where before they were married, they never talked about those type of things, because my money was my money, your money was your money. Then you come together and it's like, oh, I didn't realize you were spending $800 on shoes or whatever the case may be, or betting, or gambling or whatever. Right. So I really feel like it's just important to have the financial literacy. I see it a lot in the African American community. Is money is just not talked about in the household enough. Just in general, like, we have to talk about money and talk about the understanding of what a dollar's worth and how to save money. And once you get those fundamentals down, I really feel like that's the foundation. And if you have that steady foundation, I really feel like it's important to have that prior to getting married, because then it doesn't become an issue. Or it's not as big of an issue, because you've already had those conversations, those uncomfortable. Because a lot of times those conversations are going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have to definitely know and have those conversations prior to, because if you already have issues with money in dating, it's going to multiply when you get married, because now everything is together, and now your rent ain't your rent, and my rent ain't my rent, it's our rent. So you can't put each other in a situation where we both out back because you went and blew $500 on a parlay or whatever the case may be. So you have to make sure that you have those conversations, which is why, kind of going back to what we said, when you date somebody and you jump into situations and you don't have those conversations prior to, you just, oh, I love her and we've been together and she just give me butterflies. Okay, great, but how she's with her spending? Right. What is her expectation? Because I've seen situations too where couples get together, move in, and the woman feels like, okay, I can spend my money how I want. You gonna pay all the bills.
Right.
Like, did y'all even have that conversation? Because that might not be realistic. He may need you to help out with maybe not all the bills, but some of the bills if you want to live a certain type of, lifestyle. So that's definitely something that you have to talk about. Budgeting is important. Like, you can't just be spending money any kind of way and not know where it's going. So.
Right. Yeah. And it kind of goes back to what we were saying about the whole dating as well. When you talk about spending money and where the money is going, I feel like it's just important. Like, in today's society, I've seen a lot about women like thinking that the man should pay, or should you go Dutch, which I pay for my meal, you pay for your meal. I think it should be both ways. This just, again, as I say, in my humble opinion, because I've seen it work in many different ways. But I feel like it was times where we were dating, I would buy you food. Yeah. It was times when we were dating, you bought me food. Or it was times where on Valentine's Day, I buy you a gift, you buy me a gift. It's not always about just one side of it. And I feel like the sexism was sexist about the man supposed to get a girl something on Valentine's Day, but the girl don't have to get him no gift. Or I feel like it should be a two-way street is where I'm going with it. So that's why I go back to being able to do for yourself. Because if you're the woman and you can afford to pay for your own meal, you are less likely to be offended if the guy says, okay, I'm going to pay for my meal, you pay for your meal in this date, or I'm going to pay for you this time, but then you can get us next time. I don't feel like there's no issue with that. I really don't feel like there's an issue with that. And
see how she act when he acts when you say you don't have it. That's a big indication if that person's with you for the right reasons. Right. I've been in a situation where I was in a relationship prior to him, And I was mainly the one like, okay, I was taken care of. I was basically holding it down. I'm just going to put it like that without saying the most. And when I noticed when it was like, no, I don't have it this time, or I can't, it was like the attitude of the other person was immediately like offended. Like, what do you mean? It's just this much. It's da 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 da. And it was just like, when you have a person like men, if you're a lady, when you say, babe, I ain't got this time, we got to eat in, or can you cook something, or babe, we can't go here today, we got to hit up McDonald's, you know, whatever the case may be, check her attitude. If she has an attitude with you because you can't do it this particular time, that's a big indication that she's not there for you. She's there for what you can do for her. I think a lot of people, like I was saying prior to, are here, they're really with you for the entertainment aspect. And I know we have 2 boys, and I'm gonna tell my son, like, tell her no one day and see how she act. And then if that's an indication. Like, if she's like, all right, babe, I got it, or I'll cook, or it's okay, don't worry about it, that means she's there for you. So yeah, I think we hit basically everything, unless you have something else you want to add to it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much, for the most part, what I had. And I agree with you. It's just saying no in general. That could just be anything just to see the reaction. But I agree, like, when it comes to finances, like I said, this should just be a two-way street. But I feel like if you have your stuff together prior to, I really feel like that'll be that's the best case scenario. Yeah. When you have your stuff in order, your ducks in a row, you're not looking for someone to take care of you or what they can do for me. I'm really here to get to know that person and fall in love with the person and not what they can do. Because one other thing I want to hit on is just hard times may hit.
I was about to say that.
As far as you might lose a job, that's ups and downs are a part of life. And if you used to the man always paying for everything,
or the
woman always paying for everything, and then that person lose their job, then what?
Yeah.
And that's why you shouldn't rely on that one person for, okay, he's always going to be the breadwinner. He's always going to, because life happens.
Yeah, and that's why budgeting also is important, because you need to be saving some money for a rainy day. You shouldn't be spending all of your money. And I know that, financially, like, that's a two-way street. You know what I'm saying? Like, are there some times where you can do your own hair? Are there some times where you don't get the Jordans, or whatever the case may be? Because you need to be saving, because like I said, there's always something that can come up around the corner that can just catch you off guard. And like, if you lose your job today, do you have retirement? Did you set up something to help you withhold? Because life is gonna life. Yeah. Life is gonna do what it's gonna do. And like you said, you have to make sure that each of you has a plan in the event that something happens, because live a little. So anyway, thank you guys for watching and tuning in. Please subscribe to our channel. We are posting content every Monday. If there's a Monday we miss, give us some grace. We're two working people and 2 full-time parents as well. So we are trying to put out content every Monday. Like, share, subscribe this content. If you have a comment that you want to add to the comment section, please do so. And that's all we got to say.
With that being said, as you mentioned, like, share, subscribe. It's been your boy Jew.
And your girl Amanda.
All right, see you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.
Wow.